Hello. So the major focus of this week and the final assignment you'll have to do this week is this Unit 1 outline for the personal essay. So in the announcements, I've asked you to look over what exactly the personal essay is so you get an idea of what we're creating an outline for. If you look at the assignment details, which I also include in the announcement that you should make sure to do, you can see that you're going to be focusing on the same reading we've been working with, The Fear We All Live With, and using some of the resources that are linked. You're going to open your own Word document and create an outline. So here, you're going to be submitting what we would call a topic outline. There's a good example of it in the Reading, Writing, Arithmetic, and Zero About Jobs section. This is a sample outline of what it might look like. I've created a video talking specifically about the thesis statement that you should definitely check out. This sample outline that we have here, we've got the introduction, the points that the person's going to cover in this essay, and the conclusion. So this is a basic breakdown of what you're going to be doing on your own, following this formatting. You can see that when I say a topic outline, I'm looking for basic topics, for the most part, that you're going to include in here. You can see that the thesis statement is a complete sentence, and there are complete sentences here as well for these 3 points, because that's going to give me an idea of your topic sentence and also the main idea of your paragraph. But as far as the details in your paragraph goes, I don't need complete sentences. The whole thing doesn't need to be a sentence outline. I'm looking for ideas of what you might include in this paragraph when you go to write it. Each of these major Roman numerals here is going to count for a paragraph. So one of the things I want to talk about today is places you can go to generate these body points. This is going to be the introduction. You're going to have an introduction to the topic, and you're going to end with your thesis statement. The conclusion has an explanation of the things you can include in the conclusion, but your question may be, but Ms. Shaw, how do I come up with these things? How do I come up with what I want to say in my essay? So what I'm going to recommend that you do is I'm going to recommend that you start by answering questions. And the questions, let me see if I can figure it out. There we go. The questions that I'm going to recommend you answer are going to come in this particular prompt here. So this is a little bit about response writing and an explanation of response writing. You can find this in the Course Readings American Issues Unit 1 Personal Essay Prompts. This is essentially the same thing as the general article called Response Writing that is in the learning materials as well. But this one focuses specifically on the kind of questions about American issues, which is what we're focusing on in our course reading. When you're in this article, when you scroll down to this connect to the text, there are a series of questions, and you can click for a little bit more information about each of these. But each of these questions is a starting place for you to respond to. So what I would like you to do is, while thinking about this article and also thinking about the annotations that you've already responded to and any feedback I may have given you, if you look at the feedback that I gave you on your annotations, it might say something like, this would be a great thing to talk about in your personal essay. What I'm mentioning there are moments where you can start to react and write a paragraph about this particular topic. So if you look through at all of these questions, the piece of advice I gave you in the announcement is to pick somewhere between 3 to 5. 4 to 5 might probably give you a little bit longer because you're going to end up needing to write an essay that's 2 to 3 pages long. Think about each of these questions and write a paragraph about each. Start by responding to them with a sentence. So let's say, what does the text have to do with you personally and with your life, past, present, or future? That's a great place to start with. What you would do is answer that question and maybe say something like, well, and as many of you did, many of you included this in your annotations, this text connects with me personally because as an American, I have to think about the possibility that a mass shooting might occur. And you could get specific, like maybe you worry about it in movie theaters, maybe you think about it every time you go to school, particularly since we have had in the past when we were going to campus, we have had instances where we've had to close for the day because there were possible threats that had been issued to schools in like the greater Philadelphia area. We were closed, I want to say like probably 6 or 7 years ago, because there was just a general threat to colleges in the greater Philadelphia area. And so we actually closed for the day because of that threat. When you're thinking about these things and looking at these questions, pick 4 or 5 of them and respond to them in a sentence. And that sentence will become this sentence. You're trying to figure out ways to react to the text. Pick 4 or 5 of these moments, 4 or 5 of these places where you can have a reaction. Obviously, if you pick this one would be for your conclusion. This would be for your or for your last point. There's a specific place for where that would go. But for all of these other questions here, pick 4 or 5 of them, write your response, and then figure out what you would say for that. And that's a paragraph in your personal essay.